So firstly, thank you very much for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Kind of late over there, isn't it? It's like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, exactly. It's midnight.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I've gone through a profile and I came to know that you provide some services, software services. So I thought to tell about you and the work that you are doing to my audience.
Sure, absolutely. So we are the evolution of the MSP. We kind of coin ourselves as a TSP or a technology success partner. So there's a bunch of key differences, but we do live in that MSP space, which is a managed service provider. So we're the outsourced IT department for small and medium businesses, doing everything from architecture all the way through support and training. The where we're different is that we really take a holistic approach to IT. So we want to be more with the executives at the table, trying to figure out what the business needs are, and then trying to fit the technological solution to those business needs instead of just throwing, some technology at the business and saying, "Here, this is what you use for email. This is what you use for voice over IP." We really want to get to know the business and come up with the right technology for that specific business.
Awesome. So you provide the services only for US?
No, we have a major part of our client base is in the U.S. I have a client in Canada. I have a client that is global. We're kind of working through what it looks like to support the clients at the different countries, because every country has a little bit of a different legal system that we got to navigate through. So the majority is in the U.S., but we are expanding outside the United States borders.
Awesome. So why this name, DESKSIDE?
So back in the day when we created, we collected names, but DeskSide is really supposed to be uh, like a partner that's right there next to your desk when you need us, and that's really what we encompass in the name is DeskSide. So we're right here next to you. As long as whenever you need us, you just kind of call us, and we'll be there to help.
So when you started this?
So originally, what my current business partner and I used to work for my current business partner back in 2006 for another company. It was a traditional MSP that we grew, and in 2016 we exited. We actually sold it to another company. After that sale, we saw how the market was changing, and there was a couple of key things that could have been done to make that MSP better, to be better suited for clients. So we created DeskSide. So DeskSide came to be in 2017, and we've been, growing ever since.
Okay, so particularly you provide the service in a particular state?
So we have offices in New Jersey. We have offices in Dallas, Texas. We're planning to open up an office in Nevada, in Las Vegas, and we want to open up an office in Chicago. So those are the 4 points in order for us to hit all the United States. But our clients are everywhere. So we do 90% of our work remotely. And a lot of the stuff that needs on site, we can land people and have hands anywhere in the United States.
So what are the technologies that you use?
So that's a great question, and that's really a key differentiator of ours. A lot of our competitors are like an IBM shop, or they're a SonicWall shop, or they are an Azure shop, right? I hate that. I think that only benefits the MSPs. It does not benefit the clients because there's pluses and minuses with a bunch of technologies out there, right? So we should be providing the best technologies for the specific client. Some clients love Gmail, and there's a use case for Gmail. Other clients love Office 365. So we work with all technologies. The real idea is to get to know the client and the business to a level where we can actually say, this is the better solution and this is why. So we're vendor agnostic, truly vendor agnostic. I'm not looking to make more money off of one client or another just because I have so many people that are Office 365. I don't care. So I use Gmail, I use Office 365, I use the Azure cloud, I use the Amazon cloud, whatever is necessary for that client.
So tell me about your clients, the service that you provided for different business.
Yeah. So our client base is all over the place. We have clients. The smallest client we have is about 15 users. The biggest client we have is about 500 users. We provide services that fit into one of three buckets. We call it manage, transform, and secure. Those are the three buckets there. So the managed piece is traditional managed services where you have your help desk, your monitoring, anything that is traditional infrastructure. Then you have your cloud version of that, so that we have a managed and a managed cloud. Managed cloud would be, again, Azure servers or any software as a service, VoIP solutions. We also then have the secure piece, which is something that a lot of MSPs are struggling with these days, where it's all security based. It's all about making sure your endpoints have the right security, having an EDR or an antivirus installed on all the endpoints, making sure your host file is actually secure, which is kind of funny because that's something that's super simple, and yet many people just miss it, right? So security is really important to us. And then we have the transform piece, and the transform is all around taking traditional infrastructures and transforming it into digital solutions, into the Azure cloud, or making it into microservices or any other of those use cases.
So, how good you are in giving the service?
I mean, I like to think that we're the best, but again, that's a biased response. Our clients are with us for a long time. I actually don't want any client that is not happy with us. That's another, another thing that kind of separates us from the rest of the crowd. I'm not looking to keep clients just because they're paying me. I want clients to stay with me because they're happy. So every single one of our clients seem to be happy. I check up on them on a regular basis. So I think we're doing a pretty good job. The biggest thing that we do well is we qualify our clients, because I feel that a client and a vendor, it's a two-way relationship. It's no different than when I go hire an employee. When I go and interview an employee, a lot of times I make sure that the employee's asking me as many questions as I'm asking them, because we both have to be happy with each other, right? And it's the same thing with a client. So we do a lot of qualifying of our clients to make sure that we're the right people for the job, right? And a lot of times I've gotten to the point where I'm on a sales call with a client. It's like, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, this is not really going to work out. You really need X, Y, and Z. You need something different than DESKSIDE. Maybe our services are too high for that business. They don't have enough people, so that means it's very expensive for them. Or they're just not the right mentality of client, because I need a client that wants someone that they can trust with their business problems, and then we could come up with solutions. If you're not willing to do that and all you want is traditional MSP services, then I'm not the right client for you.
So tell me about the work that you already did.
We've done a bunch of stuff, anywhere from, I mean, the latest one, we just took over a client that had a one-person IT. So he had somebody that would just come in. He was moonlighting, so that person would work during the day at another company, and then he would do a little bit of work on the weekends. It's a pretty large client. I think they have 50 users on that one, and that IT person ended up leaving. They ended up going somewhere else. So this client was left without any kind of IT for the last year or so. Started talking to them. A lot of red flags came up when we were talking to them about their servers and what condition they're on. They were talking about internet speeds not being good. So we just took them over, not even 3 weeks ago. And during that takeover process, we found so many deficiencies, because the onboarding process takes us a month to do. So when you sign up with me, I actually go through a month, and that's pretty much normal for us to get all the information necessary to be able to support them. During that time, we're also investigating to make sure that the servers have warranties on them, that all the firewalls are patched and they have all the necessary security features on them. All the endpoints are, Windows 10 and they're not Windows 7 or Windows XP, which, believe it or not, is still happening. So as we're doing all this work, we found that this client had 5 servers on site. and one of their server was their file server, and it was very important because they have a lot of user manuals. They have a lot of big data, right? So I think I want to say it's like 9 terabytes worth of files that they have on site. We found that that server they thought was being backed up on a regular basis had not been backed up for over 2 years. So they were working with no backups. The warranty on the server was out. The operating system was Windows Server 2008. So it was like a mishmash of, oh my God, what can happen? Because literally, if that server were to go down and they didn't have access to the server, they could be looking at going out of business because that's where all their files were. So we rectified the situation. We had to get creative because it was 2008. We couldn't get our backup system to actually back it up. We couldn't get any kind of replication. We couldn't get any kind of P2V. So we got a little bit creative, and we ended up building another file server with the latest server operating system, turning on DFS, and then replicating the namespace and the files over to that server, and then shutting down the other server so that this way that server is no longer necessary. Now it's on a brand new server. It's with warranty. It has the backup is working. So they're in a way better place than what they were just 3 weeks ago.
So what is the biggest challenge that you faced?
A lot of times the biggest challenge is getting people to trust you. There's a lot of bad service providers out there. And there's a lot of bad IT people out there. And everybody I talk to knows that that's the case. So what ends up happening is there's a challenge there to get people to trust you. And again, I understand it because I have been around enough people to know that there is a lot of bad IT people out there. So trust is a big one. Then once you get the trust, is getting people to understand that IT is not cheap. The things that need to happen, there's a dollar amount behind them, and you have to spend that money in order to make sure that you're at the right place. Because if you don't, it's just a matter of time. Because technology is no different insurance policy. If you don't spend the money, one day you're going to need whatever you didn't spend the money on, and that's the day that you're going to be, oh man, I should have, I could have. Security is a great example. If you don't put anything in place, are you likely to get hacked? I mean, everybody's likely to get hacked. I don't care how big or small you are. It's a numbers game, right? These hackers are going out there trying to find the easiest targets. If you make it easy for them, you're going to get hacked. You get crypto locker in place and you don't have a disaster recovery system in place, you're in trouble. And then your options are pay the ransom or don't pay the ransom and shut down your doors. I mean, really, that's the two. And if you pay the ransom, it doesn't mean that you're going to get your files back. So those are the two biggest things: is trust, and then trying to get people to understand that what I'm proposing to you once you have the trust is the things you're going to have to spend money on, and the stuff is not cheap.
So how much time you take to give the best and the quality service? Because you're saying you understand the client requirements and you do investigation and you give what exactly they want.
Yeah, a great question. So it's an ongoing forever battle is what I like to say. So I have once you become a client of mine, the first whatever amount of time, so whatever year, whatever it is, the first amount of time is really to get to know the business. We take them over, we put them into the traditional bucket of taking over their services, making sure they have the right stuff. Only things that give you red flags, a firewall that doesn't have a subscription. That's the stuff that we kind of, anything that they want to do because they need to do it or then we do that stuff. Everything else we kind of just put on hold. We pause, we wait, we get to learn what the client does, how they work, each of the employees. And then from there, once a year, we recommend a roadmap for the following year. And we say, okay, Q1, we're going to do this. Q2, we're going to do this. Q3, we're going to do this. This is how much everything costs. And then we put it on a nice roadmap so they could say in November or September, plan out for next year, put all that stuff in your budgets and say, okay, this is the stuff. These are the things you need to do. These are the things that would be nice to do. And these are the things that are okay. You don't have to do them, but they're also not a bad idea. So you put those three things in place, and then the client has a nice budget, a budgetable item that they could put into their budget for next year, and we could execute year after year after year. That happens every single year. As the company grows, we grow and we change things as necessary. If the company gets smaller, then we get smaller with them. So it's a constant evolution of what is needed for the business and what is needed to keep them whatever they need to be.
Do all your clients have technical knowledge?
No, I mean, actually, that's a challenge, right? That's actually one of the things that I'm blessed with is I understand technology very in depth, but I can also translate it to non-technical people. So I've had enough experience with C-level executives to where I understand the cloud, I understand how microservices work, I understand Lambdas, like I understand all the stuff, but I would never use the terminology that I would use with a tech with a C-level executive. With C-level executive, it's more about capital expenditures, operational expenditures, how much is going to cost, how much time is going to take, how many people are we going to affect, how much downtime. Those are the things they want to talk about, right? So I explain it to, this is going to be your end result once we do that. This is the impact to the business. This is how much it costs. And that a lot of times is one of the reasons why our clients love us, is because we're not trying to sit there and like wow them with big words and say, oh, let me use some big words so you doesn't understand what we're saying, which get some money and we'll get some transactions. That's not our intent. Our intent is for you to understand exactly what the end result and how much it's going to cost. And the way you do that is to talk at their level, not at a technical level.
So you're dealing with technology and the business. So how is this?
So I have a business degree. My background is in business. So I understand balance sheets, I understand P&Ls, I understand operational necessities. So I understand businesses. I also have a great understanding of technology. I have a master's degree in information systems management, and I have an MBA, right? So those are two very different degrees, high-level degrees, but I also have experience as a C-level executive and as a tech. So I came up at, on construction sites, bringing up servers back in the early 2000s, right? When they were like a very new thing. So I have all this experience. I hire people that are very knowledgeable in the places they need to be knowledgeable. But understanding both is something that myself and a couple of the other account managers need to do. It's a very difficult thing to do, understanding business, understanding technology. But once you bring those two pieces together, you can have a conversations with a C-level executive and really get down to what is crippling the business or what is slowing down the business's growth, and then put the technology in place to fix that problem.
So do you have any particular experience that you cannot forget?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch of great case studies or experiences. The one that I remember though was the first time when I fell in love with operational efficiency. So I was chief information officer for a large construction company in the Northeast, and back when I took over, they were doing about $55 million a year in business, and they were using QuickBooks and a proprietary ERP system, right? So the ERP system was something that was handwritten for them. It was a web-based application, believe it or not, back in those days, but it was clunky. It wasn't working. There was a lot of other pieces that it could not do. There was a lot of manual labor. Work orders needed to be printed on, believe it or not, impact paper. So there was the paper that had three pieces. It had the white, the yellow, and the pink, and it had the impact printer to print on them. So there was a lot of inefficiencies. One of them, for instance, was the orders would stop at 5 o'clock. So they wouldn't take any more orders at 5 o'clock. But then it took them from 5 o'clock to about 8 o'clock at night to actually get all the work orders to the warehouse and to all the people for the next day. Then the warehouse would be filling the orders, and sometimes the warehouse wouldn't stop working till about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, just to get the orders in place, right? So when I got there, a lot of the stuff that I did was all around learning the business, right? So we made some improvements. We made some improvements on the infrastructure side, but it took about a year for me to kind of understand how everything worked, right? And the biggest thing is operationally and accounting were completely separate. We're doing orders from this side, and then accounting was on this side. So then I architected a whole system using SAP Business One, which would take over the entire process from soup to nuts, and actually automated many of the pieces. So we implemented that after it took us a year to implement. So I was there a year to implement. Once we implemented the system, everything went through that one ERP. So now work orders could run as long, we didn't have to shut it down because the work orders were all automatic. At 5 o'clock, it would take whatever work orders were in the system, PDF, emails would go out, and then it would be on the log on the warehouse. The warehouse would start working. It actually gave them a pick list because it filled all the trucks. So it was an algorithm that would look at all the work orders, would look at all the different addresses that all the trucks had to go to, knew how big the space there was in the truck, knew how much material we had, and it would fill. So the guys would get done 8, 9 o'clock at night instead of 3 o'clock in the morning. All the staff, everything was done by 6 o'clock p.m. with the work orders. And the best part is accounting pushed one button and they had the P&L. Right? They didn't have to go through the two systems. So that's one of my fondest ones, but it's only because it was the first one.
So you said you have a customer with having 15 clients and a customer who has about 500 clients. So how you manage the customers with different clients?
So it's end users, not clients. So we have a client that would have 15 end users, so they have 15 employees, or we have clients that have 500 end users. So the management of the end users is, we have a ticketing system, right? So all the clients have their main source, and we have one phone number that they call. But the ticketing system allows us to manage all the issues for every single client. On top of that, we have a very detailed knowledge base that we create during the onboarding process. So during the onboarding process, we're collecting every single bit of information from IP addresses to server names and credentials to log in, all the different applications that they use, how-to guides and how to get into different things, who the vendors are, account numbers, all that stuff is in a knowledge base. So a client then simply emails in or calls us and say, I am having this problem. From there, the ticket is created specifically to the client. It is assigned to the specific resources needed to fix that problem. And then using the knowledge base and their technical acumen, they're able to resolve the issue, the ticket gets closed, and we move on. So that's one. The other way is obviously every client has an account manager. The account manager knows their client's business intimately. They have those meetings that I was talking about earlier on a yearly basis at the minimum, where they look at what's necessary, and we have a whole professional services team that will put together the projects and then execute on the projects to get the clients whatever they need.
So coming to the point, time is very important. So how well you're managing it?
Yeah, so it's going back to that ticketing system and making sure. So we have SLAs for every single one of the tickets that come in, and there's two things. One is a categorization of the tickets, so what the different types of tickets that come in, and based on that and the impact on the business, we actually execute an SLA. So it could be anywhere from a 30-second response time to a next day response time, and then it would have a action time and a close time. So all those SLAs are calculated by our ticketing system to make sure that we're providing the very best service as per our agreed time span necessary for each of those issues. So we manage that very, very, very closely.
You said you have clients from Canada and from other country also. So what about latency? How they are able to take the service of yours?
I mean, these days, I really haven't experienced much in the sense of latency. I mean, we're able to do voice over IP and video chat and a lot of these services over the internet. I mean, a lot of our clients, we make sure that they have the bandwidth necessary to make sure that we can do all the things that we do. I mean, that's part of our service, is to make sure that we calculate the bandwidth, power, all the things necessary to run that business. That's one of the reasons why digital transformation is so important to us, is because if you're taking those servers off site and you throw them in the cloud, now you're talking about huge amounts of resources, and the pipe available to them is vastly more than anything you can do, you know, on-prem. But I mean, latency, unless you're getting into, we have some clients that are out in some bad areas that you can't get good internet. It has not really been an issue these days. I gotta say.
So you're doing this for a while. So how is your experience? How well you are able to understand, because your master's degree is uh, in technology and you studied business one, and like you said, you connect with the technical team. At the same time, you understand the requirements of the non-technical client. So how you are able to manage all these things?
So experience is huge. I mean, I always, every time something new happens, I'm like, I've seen it all. And the reality is that it's something always happens that surprises me. So, but I do lean on my experience a lot. There's a lot of things that repeat from client to client. We had one situation just recently where one of our clients were having major DHCP issues, right? So they have a very complicated network, multiple VLANs, multiple access points, but they were having issues with their DHCP server. So we made some changes, and those changes were successful. So everything looked like it was great, and we were all happy. And then not even a week later, I'm on a sales call with a client that, and I, you know, one of the questions I ask is, you know, why are we talking? Like, why aren't you happy with your current provider, right? Because I want to know if we're the right person. And he says, well, we're having all these DHCP issues and my provider can't kind of fix them. It's like, well, that's kind of funny. We just fixed them for one of our other clients, and I think I know why, because they were identical. They were both schools. So it was a similar situation. So my gut's telling me, my experience is telling me, I'm pretty sure that they're having the same issues that we already solved here. So experience is huge. That happens all the time to me. I go into one place after another, and a lot of the businesses have similar issues. So if you can lean on that experience, it does help.
So what is the motto of desk side?
Our motto. Um, well, we have a few. We're still working through a lot of the things that would, but uh, we're really, the technology success partner is our biggest motto. That's the thing that we kind of say all the time, right? Technology success partner, technology success partner. What that means to me is really that bridging of business and technology into one holistic partner. And that's really our biggest model. It's just making sure technology is something that the business leverage in order to them to grow, in order for them to get better, in order for them to get to the next level of whatever's necessary.
So you already said about your clients. So from which kind of business that they have, in only IT or other industries too?
No, actually, we don't service other IT companies. Our biggest thing is we have clients in financial space, we have clients in construction, we have clients that are in manufacturing, we have schools, higher education. We dabble in a couple of different arenas. You know, I stay away from doctors' offices. You know, that's just not something that we do well. So you also got to know, and that's one of the qualifying questions. It's like, we don't go after a hospital, right? That's just not where DESKSIDE is best served. But we have clients in pretty much all the other spaces that you could think of.
So how well your employees are able to understand the functionalities of the businesses which are coming from different industries?
So it depends on which employees. That's a really good question. So I don't expect all my employees to be like me or a lot of my account manager, the sales team, right? They all have their strengths, and we want to make sure. I am an anomaly because I play in both sides, and that's one of the advantages that DESKSIDE has, is being able to leverage someone like myself, and I have other people on my team that are similar to me. But my other employees have to be good at what they do. I have fantastic techs. I keep them very happy. I am running this company just like a startup. So we have every single benefit you could think of just because I want to keep all my employees happy. I try to get the best. But that's really important to me. So I don't want my engineers to understand business necessarily. If they do, that's great. But I want them to understand the Azure cloud. I want them to understand AWS. I want them to understand, every single other service that we provide. That's important to me. The translation is really for account management, for sales, for someone like myself to go in there and kind of get through. So it's really important. My account managers, I don't really want them to understand technology. I want them to understand business, and I want them to have enough understanding of technology to be able to bring the technology as a solution to a business problem.
Can I say having a tech master's degree helped you in understanding business more?
Yeah, and honestly, the master's degree in the technology is not what helped me most. What helped me most is that I got my hands dirty. So I was a tech for a very long time, and I worked from pretty big businesses. And I was in the server room at 3 o'clock in the morning when the server went out, and I was there till 6 o'clock the next day. So I know what it's like to be a tech. On the other side, I've been a C-level executive at some pretty big companies, so I know what it's like to be a C-level executive and what they have to answer to. So it's really more about the experience. The education gave me the theory, right? But the theory is only a piece of it. When you put it into practice, you start learning a lot more.
So what is that unique quality that made DESKSIDE to reach everywhere?
So there's three. Vendor agnostic is huge. Like I said, our competitors say they're vendor agnostic, and they are not. They pitch that they will give you what they want, but the reality of it is they'll put quotes out there for 3 different vendors, but they make sure that the pricing is such that the vendor they want to work with is the cheapest, right? So they'll do that on purpose so that they keep going. So for instance, if they are an Office 365 shop, I guarantee you that the Office 365 price is always going to be cheaper than the Gmail price because that's what they want you to pick. So vendor agnostic is the other one. This bridging of business problems with technological solutions is a huge differentiator. Not everybody can do it. A lot of the MSPs don't even want to get involved. I mean, I walk into many situations. I was talking to a deal of a company in Miami where they came to us because their current IT provider didn't understand compliance from a financial institution. So they don't understand compliance. They really can't understand the business. So what their biggest pain point was, it's like, my IT person does everything I tell them, but I don't know technology. He doesn't understand my business. How do I know that I'm putting the right things in place for my business? So that is really big. The other thing that's important is also that our team is top notch. And again, a lot of the MSPs out there will say, oh, I've got the best team. I don't use level 1 people. You know what? It's not true. I pay for my team. I make sure that every one of my techs are paid well. I have great benefits on my team because I want to attract the best talent, because I really do want the best talent. I want the people that can actually solve my customer's problem. So those are 3 big things that DESKSIDE has that's going to, propel them, has propelled them this far, and is going to propel them even further.
So what about the charge? How you charge to different business requirements?
Yep. So another differentiator, a lot of my MSP competitors charged on a per user, per server model, right? So they have a price per user, a price per server, and they just add it up, and then they'll even go and they'll say every month, every 3 months, every year, we look at it and we change it. I don't play in those waters. I have packages. I have a standard package. I have a professional package. I have a premium package, and then I have an enterprise package. And what those packages are is around services. A lot of it has to do with security services. So the standard package has only the basic security services. It doesn't have any of the advanced. Then there's the professional package that has a little more security. Then the premium package has all the security that the business needs. There is a threshold, like the standard package is for 15 users or less, and then you get charged a little more if you go over that 15 users. 5 servers, If you go into the professional, the limit goes up to 35 users, and then the premium goes to 50 users. So the packages are varied, but it's really about what those packages have as far as services. That's how we price everything.
So I have technical and non-technical followers, so who are watching this and listening to our conversation about desk side. So in simple language and anybody can understand this.
Yeah.
What exactly desk side is doing and what how they can use desk side for their business.
Sure, absolutely. So the simplest way to explain it is that we are an outsourced IT department. So whatever you think you have in your business, whether that's a hired person or people that take care of the technology within the company, or if you have another outsourced company that's doing it currently, that's what DeskSide does. We come in and we make sure that your technology is supporting the business, you don't have any issues. We're also looking into the future to make sure that you have a disaster recovery plan in action. You know, with this stuff that happened during COVID, many businesses were caught in a world of hurt because they thought they were ready for anything, and then all of a sudden everybody had to shut their offices and they had to work from home. How many people did not have VPN tunnels or had some sort of remote desktop, or their servers weren't even in the cloud? They were in the office. They couldn't access them. So all that stuff is kind of forward thinking. We had none of our clients with any kind of that issue because a lot of our clients are already set up with future technology. So they're already set up to work from anywhere. Nobody has a desk phone. None of our clients have desk phones. They're all using soft phones of some sort, right? So that's really what we do. We're an outsourced IT department, which can replace a one-person IT shop all the way to a full department or another outsourced company.
90 plus percent of your employees are working remotely. So how you are able to give the tech support?
Everything is done through our ticketing system. Everything is done through our tools. We have systems in place that can connect, and we can do screen sharing with the clients. They can call us. But yeah, like 90% of everything we resolve remotely. A lot of the stuff, and this is another reason why it's really important for clients to move away from old technology into the new. For instance, having a client server application on site is not the best idea, right? There's a lot of limitations to that. Having a SaaS solution, way easier to support because now the SaaS solution's in the cloud, everything's in the cloud. There's people that are way smarter than both of us that are supporting that stuff, right? I mean, they got tech in Microsoft that are next level. So we kind of walk away from that stuff so that we don't really have to be on site. Now that you've got a serverless environment, in essence, right? That's our best clients. And we have many clients that we started with 5 servers, and all of a sudden they're in Azure Active Directory as their foundational identity management system, and they have some sort of Gmail as their email system or their Office suite. They have all SaaS solutions. They literally have nothing on site but a firewall and some access points. And honestly, at that point, you could work anywhere. I could support anybody anywhere at that point. We have clients that have servers on site and we support them as well. Those clients, you end up going on site more often. So you end up sending people on there. And that's really that 10% window where we have to send someone there.
So how you will explain to a customer or the client of yours, because they are from they don't have technical knowledge, they don't know how to move their on-premises infrastructure to the cloud or to the virtual world. So how you will explain the services that are there in IT?
So, okay, so it depends who I'm talking to, right? So if I'm talking to a technical director of IT or someone that's technical, we can have a conversation on a technical level and start talking about the tools that we're going to use, the time frames, you know, how when you're talking to a C-level executive, they don't care about any of that stuff, right? They're going to care about what do I have? What am I going to have? How is this going to impact my financial position? How is this going to impact me operationally, right? So we have a conversation around there. So it really depends on what we're talking about. A lot of the things that I do in order to kind of ease the transition is to phase out a lot of stuff, right? To make sure that we go into phase. So if you have a traditional server environment where you have Active Directory on site and a file server on site, maybe we start by doing a hybrid where we have Azure Active Directory talking to the AD, and you have a file server on site, and that's phase one. Then phase two is let's move the files up there. Let's train the staff to where the files are. And eventually we cut that off, remove the server, and we're done. That's like a little easy conversation to have with an executive. They can understand that. Then the other piece they're going to ask is, well, how much is it costing me now? How much will it cost me in the future? And that's an easy conversation to have.
So what is the best quality that is working for you in order to make things possible?
Planning is a big one. You know, making sure that we understand the problem, making sure that the client understands the solution, and then planning out exactly how it's going to happen so it has the minimum impact on the business as possible.
Awesome. So at last, do you want to say anything to my audience about DESKSIDE?
No, I think we said a lot. I appreciate you having me on your show. I look forward to airing it, and yeah, thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. So can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yes.
And also, can I put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you. And have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
I have, yes.
So what do you say about it?
It's good. It's good. I like the variety of different people that you have out there. That's the makes it interesting because you don't go from one type of industry or one type of person. You have a varied audience, a varied guest list.
So me, I already did masters in software engineering. I have a uh, uh, graduation degree in computer science and engineering. How this technical knowledge is going to help me, and these interviews are from different parts of the world who are into different professions, not only from tech, non-technical. So me talking with all these country people, trying to know their experiences and trying to know the work that they are doing and trying to know the service that they are providing, how this is going to help me in future in tech.
I think it'll expand your horizons, right? So right now, one of the greatest thing I've ever heard is there's a saying where you know that the amount of knowledge that people know is about 3% of all the available knowledge because it's like 1% we know, and then there's a little more that we know we don't know, and that makes up 3% of all the available knowledge out there. So that means that 97% is the stuff we don't know, right? So what I think is going to happen with you is as you talk to people, you're going to start expanding that you don't know, and that'll lead to some curiosity, and that curiosity would lead to you expanding your knowledge base.
Awesome. So you having experience in all different fields, and you saying this and this observation means a lot to me. And I'm sure in coming days, DESKSIDE is going to reach everywhere on this planet. And I want you to give service to even to India, where
Yeah,
I'm
no, that'd
living.
be great. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So thank you, Vittorio, for giving me opportunity to interview you for my YouTube channel and my podcast.
Absolutely, Sai. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye-bye.